Hello everyone and welcome to my first game development journal entry. This is recorded on February 23rd, 2015. First I'll explain the purpose of the series. I'm creating a game engine in Java for 2D games, and it's using the LWJGL and JBox 2D libraries. I'm making this series mostly for a progress report. I need to check in with myself and my instructor to show that I'm making ample progress each week. So each entry will be composed of a progress report and then the goals for the upcoming week and so on. So let's get started. Since this is the first entry, we're going to have to show you everything I've done up to this point. So currently this is our result. So I can control the bottom left rectangle with the WASD, A and D to turn, W and S to thrust forward and backwards. Collisions are registered and they respond accordingly. I do have collision callbacks working, so if I press space on this, if I can get back on screen, if I press space on this ship, then it will be able to shoot lasers. And basically, what collision callback is once that collision happens, JBox 2D is handling all of that. But once that collision happens, it calls one of my own methods that I told it to, and it says take whatever the laser is colliding with, decrement the health, and then remove the laser from the world, the game world. So I'm able to have my own custom functionality even though the JBox 2D is handling the collisions. So eventually the health will be set to 0, and there we go, the box disappears. Not very graceful, but that's what we have working so far. All these have health. If I found a way to shoot myself, I have my own health and I could disappear. So that's what we have working so far. Once again, we use LWJGL for various utilities, such as creating the window, accessing OpenGL, which I'm using for rendering, accessing OpenAL, which I'm using for sounds. You didn't hear them that time, but they are in there. JBox 2D I'm using for physics. So all the physics that you saw there where the entities were colliding with each other, that's all JBox 2D. Now, we also had those custom shapes, so I was able to define my own classes that define their own shapes, and that combined with fixtures are able to create the bodies that you see on screen, which are a part of JBox 2D. Now, I have a lot to work on. As you can see, well, if you can see, a lot of this is not documented. I don't have a lot of these methods commented or Java docked, so it's going to be quite a painstaking process to add comments to all of the code to let the programmer know what's going on and why. I also need to work on refactoring a little bit, so all these game objects that I have, they do not abstract away the JBox 2D implementation of bodies. And what that means is, in my engine currently, to create game objects, you have to understand the JBox 2D implementation of a body. You have to understand fixtures, shapes, bodies, and the world that contains them. And I don't want that to be how the game engine is made. I want it to be simply you define a game object with a name, you assign it a shape, you assign it physical properties such as density and whatnot, and you say what it does each update cycle and what it does each input cycle and how it renders. Actually, you don't even have to say how it renders because I want my engine to automatically handle that. You can assign it in texture if you want. That's how I want things to work, but currently it's not abstracting away the JBox 2D implementation. You have to pretty much create the shape, the JBox 2D shape, and return it. You have to create the fixture and return it, and that creates the body, which is stored in a game a game object. Where is that at? We got a physics world. Where do I add them to the world? I'm not sure, actually. That doesn't really matter, but actually it'd be world.create body. I'm not sure where that is, but that doesn't really matter. What you need to know is I need to abstract away the JBox 2D implementation. Also, I need to add support for complex shapes. So what I have now are called simple shapes. They're composed of a single convex shape. Eventually, I want to add it so you can define a game object to be a collection of multiple convex shapes. And those are called convex shapes. And right now, those are not supported. So I need to add that supportment.